Hi everyone, it's Kelly here. Welcome to my channel if this is your first time. Welcome back if you've been before. Lovely to have you either way. On this channel we talk books, and today I am bringing you a book haul. I'm recording these videos a little bit out of order, mainly because I need to clear this stack off my desk so that I can make room for books I've already been acquiring in the next month. But this is my book haul for April, and I'm going to share the books that I've brought that I have acquired. We're going to normally we start with new books, but this time I'm going to start with second-hand books, and potentially the reason for that will become evident as we go along. First of all, in a previous video, which was a holiday reading vlog, I already shared a couple of books with you. That's these ones, so I'm not going to talk any further about them other than just to tell you the titles. So we had Are You There, Buddha by Pip Harry, an Australian children's writer. We have Kairos by Jenny Erpenbeck. Sorry, I should have showed you that one. Kairos by Jenny Erpenbeck. Daughters of the Bamboo Grove by Barbara Demick. And The Life and Myth of Charmian Clift by Nadia Wheatley. So I've already spoken about these in that other video, which I will link up in the cards if you would like to have a look. Alright, so let's move into the second-hand books that I picked up in the month of April, in addition to those. Those were all second-hand. So I'm going to start with one that I got for free. And this was in a kind of a little free library. I guess it was like a... Technically, I don't know. I may have stolen this book. So I was visiting like a club. It was like a golf club, and they had a little free library type shelf. It didn't specifically say that you had to read the books only on the premises. Different books were in there than the last time. Anyway, I picked up a copy of On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. This, I believe, is a... Oh, I thought it was poetry, but it is not. It's a letter. It says on the back, this is a letter from a son to a mother who cannot read. Written when the speaker, little dog, is in his late 20s. The letter unearths a family's history that began before he was born. It tells of Vietnam, of the lasting impact of war, and of his family's struggle to forge a new future. And it serves as a doorway into parts of little dog's life his mother has never known. Episodes of bewilderment, fear and passion, all the while moving closer to an unforgettable revelation. So did I steal it? Is it just a little free library book? Who can say? But it's here now. Okay, let's move on, shall we? Alright, the rest of these books are ones that I picked up at various places secondhand. This was actually technically still part of that trip that I was on, except that it happened on the way home because my husband and I visited a couple of places. Actually, was it on the way home? Anyway, some of them were on the way home. No, they were all on the way home. So let me show you what I got from some of the secondhand stores on the way home from that same trip that I picked up those other ones. I got a copy of A Streetcar Named Desire by Tennessee Williams. This is a play. I don't have a whole lot of plays in my collection. And I will be honest and say I don't remember the last time I picked up a play to read, but... this is a classic, obviously. It's part of the Modern Classics editions from Penguin. But it cost me $3, which I thought was a good price. So anyway, we've got that now in the collection. This one is a poetry collection. It's called Coast Road, Selected Poems by Robert Gray. This one is put out by Black Ink Books, and again, this was $3 to me. This is an Australian poet, and I am not super familiar with his work, but he has won a bunch of different awards and has been published in various countries as well. But he grew up on the north coast of New South Wales, which is the state I live in Australia. So there you go. That's a poetry collection I picked up. I picked up another poetry collection, technically, I guess. Kind of. It's called The Prophet by Kahlil Gibran. Again, $3, good price. This is just a really cool cover. I already had a copy of this in my collection, but I really, really liked this cover, and I've decided to pick it up for $3. So that seemed a good deal. That one's kind of more of a classic poetry sort of situation. Yeah. It was published originally in 1923. Apparently, and since then has been translated into more than 20 languages and is a classic work of inspirational fiction. I guess it's not technically poetry, but it's very poetic, I believe, in its style. Then I have a children's book, and it's called The Dangerous Business of Being Trilby Moffatt by Kate Temple. This is an Australian author. I've read her picture books, but I've never read any chapter book work by her. But I'm interested in getting into this one and seeing if it's cool. But basically, let me tell you about this story. It says, "This is not just any old book. This is a legal document. It contains a truthful record of how Trilby Moffatt was accidentally promoted to the most important job that ever existed, the job of timekeeper. A mystery illness is making people bake ancient cakes, speak dead languages, and then fall asleep and never wake up. When Trilby Moffatt's mother catches this strange sickness, Trilby must find her only other surviving relative, a 300-year-old aunt who lives in a secret antique shop on the edge of time. Ahead of Trilby lies an unusual inheritance, an opportunity that will never be repeated, and a man in a top hat who will try to kill her more than once. This is the story of how one ordinary girl finds herself on a deliciously fast-paced adventure, fleeing to an island where time doesn't exist, cats are particularly rude, and cake is always on the menu. Here she will take on the most treacherous job of all time, well, outside of time. Outside of time, to be precise. This is the dangerous business of being Trilby Moffatt." That sounds like a fun romp, so I'm looking forward to that one. Then I picked up two contemporary fiction, I guess. The first one is Awake in the Floating City by Susanna Kwan. This one was $2.50, which bargain. This was a book that one of the book clubs that I'm affiliated with was reading. I didn't end up getting to it, but it is what it is. Let me tell you about it though. It says it's for fans of Station 11 or Burnham Wood, which I've not read either, but a lot of the people in that book club have read both. So it is a literary novel with a dystopian world as its setting, and at its heart a human story about compassion in times of great adversity. In a future San Francisco transformed by years of rain, Beau, a 40-year-old lapsed artist, I like that title, is grieving the community she's lost to catastrophic flooding. Her friends and family have disappeared or fled, the streets are rivers, and the buildings are falling apart. Yet on the day of her planned departure, Beau finds a note slipped under her door. "I need help," it reads. 3 days a week, afternoons, can pay in cash. Unable to bring herself to board the ship that could save her life, Beau instead chooses to answer the note, which turns out to have been written by her neighbour Mia, a 130-year-old supercentenarian long abandoned by her own family. What follows is the story of an extraordinary relationship between the two women, bound by circumstance and finding human connection in the most difficult of situations. Sounds pretty fascinating, to be honest. And then the other one that I picked up that I was very excited to see, again for $2.50, is Mad Mabel by Sally Hepworth. They called it murder, she called it justice, it says on the front. In 1959, at just 15 years of age, Mabel Waller became the youngest Australian in history to be convicted of murder. In 2025, on a quiet Melbourne lane, an elderly man is found dead by his neighbour, 81-year-old Elise Fitzpatrick. No one suspects any foul play until they discover it wasn't Elise, it was Elsie. Elsie's past. In the 1950s, her name was not Elsie, it was Mabel. She is known around the world as Mad Mabel, but is she mad? More importantly, is she guilty? When the police open a new investigation and the media descend upon her, the elderly Mabel decides it's time to set the record straight. In a world first, at the age of 81, Mabel Waller is speaking. Sounds very interesting. So that I'm excited to have that one. The main reason I was so excited about it because it was a very, very recent release. It only came out towards the end of 2025. So I was like, yes, please. Thank you very much for $2.50. I also need to tell you about 2 books that I acquired that will not be going onto my TBR technically, because these are the kinds of books I do not track. And if you watched a video that I made a couple of weeks ago about to track or not to track, this is the kind of book that is a not to track for me. However, I need to tell you about them because they're very fun and funny. The first one is called Romeow and Juliet, William Shakespeare with Eliza Garrett. This is the classic Tales, Tails series, basically where cats are the main characters of classic stories. So I have Romeow and Juliet and also The Great Catsby by Eliza Garrett. This one you can see has a bit of damage on the front, but these were given to me by my cats, and they were in my luggage when I went away on the trip. So, and I didn't know they had surreptitiously been placed in there. So these 2 books have come into my collection. I have already read this one, Romeow and Juliet. I haven't yet read The Great Catsby, but I'm sure I will at some point. But you won't know about it because I'm not going to tell you about it. All right. Final part of the video, we're going to look at some brand new books that came into my collection in the month of April. I have 2 Georgette Heyer books, and these are from, the first one's called Death in the Stocks, and the second one is called They Found Him Dead. These are 2 mystery novels written by Georgette Heyer. I have a pretty extensive Georgette Heyer collection, which is up on a shelf you can't see, but it's above me. And I've decided I'm going to read this series. I don't know if it's going to tell me the name of the series. It's the name of the detectives. Hannaside is one. Detective Hannaside series, maybe? Superintendent Hannaside in this one. So anyway, I'm getting lost in the sauce here. I'm intending to read this. I have actually read out of order one of the books in this series, which was a Christmas book, the name of which escapes me. It was called, so the original title of it was Envious Casca, but I think it's called something like A Christmas Mystery or something to that effect, the copy I have, but it's the same book. They just rebranded it for Christmas because it's set during Christmas time. Anyway, these 2 are not. They're just general mysteries. And I believe that some of these might be locked room mysteries. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, I'm looking forward to reading these. I very much enjoy Georgette Heyer's writing, particularly in her novels. I've read her short stories as well, which I didn't like as much, but I've always had a good time with her novels. So anyway, looking forward to reading these. I picked up also, and this was another trip, as part of the trip that where I was away, I picked up Fireweather by Miranda Darling. I recently read Thunderhead by this author, which comes before this one in the series. Kind of a series. It's the same main character, and the events of this book take place after the events of the previous one. It's kind of a series, duology at this point. I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to tell you too much about the plot of this one, but I'll tell you why I got it, and that is because this book has been shortlisted for the Stella Prize, which I am attempting to read through. So I am intending to read this one ASAP, so I will be able to give you a review of it shortly. But yeah, I have it, and I'm excited to get it. I think it's a really cool cover. Very, very cool. But yeah, so this one I picked up because I had finished Thunderhead. She's jumped up again. And I was like, if I finish Thunderhead, then I will allow myself to buy this one, because I hadn't previously bought that one, even though I had bought quite a lot of the other Stella Prize books. Are you going to be a bother? All right, the next book is called Marley by Lulu Houdini. This is a poetry collection by an Australian poet, I believe. Let me see. Yes, an Aboriginal Australian poet. She is Gamilaroi, from the Gamilaroi people. And she's also a midwife, so that's cool. But she lives with and on Jurinja, Wandandian country. So yeah. Anyway, I heard about this and it sounded really good. I read maybe a poem or two in the bookstore and I was like, yep, let's go. So I'm looking forward to getting to this poetry collection. Yeah, I mean, that's really all you need to know. It's poetry. And then I picked this one up. This is the new book by Kiran Millwood Hargrave. It's called Almost Life. I found it for a good price, so that was the reason I picked it up. I've been eyeing it off since it arrived in the bookstores. So it says, one chance encounter can define a lifetime. Erica and Laurie, Laure, Laurie, meet on the steps of the Sacre-Cœur in Paris, 1978. Erica is a student relishing her first summer abroad before beginning university at home in England. Laurie is studying for her PhD at the Sorbonne, drinking and smoking far too much and sleeping with a married woman. The moment they meet, the spark is undeniable, but their encounter turns into far more than a summer of love. It is the beginning of a relationship that will define their lives and every decision they have yet to make. Spanning cities, decades and heartbreaks, fate brings them within touching distance again and again, but will they be brave enough to seize the life they truly want? So yeah, that is the new one from Kiran Millwood Hargrave, I believe published in 2026, but let me just confirm that. Yes, it was. I've read The Mercies by this author and I really liked it, so I'm looking forward to that one. Two more to go. This is Grief Dog by Michael Winkler. Michael Winkler, I read his book Grimish because it was shortlisted for the Miles Franklin Literary Award a couple of years ago, and I very much enjoyed that book. So I heard he had a new one out and very quickly snapped it up. It's weird, but so was Grimish, so it's expectedly weird. Meet Geoffrey Watson Johnson, hydrologist, husband of Martine, father of Byrne, and model citizen of Mildura. Mildura is a country town in Australia. But after he inherits a small fortune from an obscure aunt and has a disconcerting encounter with his cousin Pam, Geoffrey decides it's time to change everything. He tells Martine he wants to live as if he were the family pet. Sleeping through the day or wandering beside the river, he discovers a new power. He can sense secret grief in others. What to do with this gift, or with his awareness of the endless streams of water flowing unseen beneath the earth. So that is the weirdness of this book. So I'm hoping that it will have the same charm as Grimish did, because I very much enjoyed that one. And it was like it took me by surprise when I read it. The last book that I picked up is 1 Week in January, New Paintings for an Old Diary by Carson Ellis. The story of this one is, it's quite a thin volume, but essentially in 2001, the author moved into a warehouse in Portland, Oregon, with a group of fellow artists. For the first week she lived there, she kept a detailed diary full of dry observations, mordant wit, hijinks with friends, and turn-of-the-millennium cultural touchstones. Now, Ellis has richly illustrated this 2-decade-old journal in the signature style that has made her an award-winning picture book author today. This beautiful volume offers a snapshot of a bygone era, a meticulous recreation of quotidian frustrations and small meaningful moments, and a meditation on what it means both to start your journey as an artist and to look back at the beginning many years later. So basically she went back, you know, sometime later and illustrated her journal of the things that she was writing back at that time, which sounded like a fascinating premise to me. So I picked it up. I found it at a good price. I've had it in my wish list for some time. I believe I heard about this one from Lauren in the Books. Correct me if I'm wrong. If anybody knows about her channel and saw her talking about this one, let me know. But yeah, I think that's where I heard about this book, and it's been on my wish list ever since. So that's my last book to show you from my gigantic stack. So hopefully you've seen some interesting books. That's what came into my library in the month of April, and I'm looking forward to getting to quite a few of these relatively quickly, and then the others as the time feels right. So thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you on the next video. Bye.